How's it, everyone? Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It transpires during the in-universe Trek year of 2259. That's 5 years before the original series and Captain James T. Kirk's command of the USS Enterprise. This video expedition will examine the number of starships in Starfleet during the Discovery and Strange New Worlds era, while analyzing each spaceborne naval branch of the United Federation of Planets by outlining the composition for each fleet division, including their size, function, and operational roles, and detailing how they support the Federation's intergalactic civilization spread across 13,000 light years, connecting a network of 128 member worlds and hundreds of colonies in the Alpha and Beta quadrants of the Milky Way. In Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Captain Leland of Section 31's control states the Federation is comprised of 7,000 warp-capable starships, providing the overall size of the UFP fleets. Starfleet's Exploration Security Division is the first and largest of these branches, comprised of 2,062 frontline starships performing the primary research and exploration missions of the Federation. These multi-role science and security vessels primarily operate in deep space beyond UFP-controlled borders, conducting long-range and extended duration expeditions in the 4 frontier zones spanning the Alpha and Beta quadrants. At any given time, 687 of these exploration starships are actively deployed to each area, consisting of roughly 5,000 light years of uncharted space and 20,000 combined light years total. These zones are divided into 5 formation elements of around 170 starships to research and survey each frontier zone, and 120 starship vessels operating within the borders of Federation-controlled space. The next rotation of 670 exploration starships are undergoing long-range warp transits over hundreds or sometimes thousands of light years between star bases, ports, and stations for incoming and outgoing mission assignments and duty deployment cycles. The final leg of 670 starships are positioned at bases, dry docks, shipyards, and home ports, receiving maintenance, repairs, refits, and overhauls in preparation for the next fleet rotational cycle, ranging in deployment durations of weeks, months, or even years. 50 of these starships are long-range exploration flagships, the largest and most advanced in Starfleet and the Federation. These Constitution Fleet heavy cruisers comprise that of 3 ship classification types, each equipped with the latest science and heavy defensive capabilities, advanced systems, and sections for long-duration research missions lasting weeks, months, or multiple years, spent charting unknown sectors of space never before traveled by any other Federation starship. For every mission rotational period, 16 heavy fleet cruisers are deployed throughout the 4 exploration zones. 16 more are undergoing long warp transits, with the final 17 command ships docked at home ports or performing internal mission assignments within regions of United Federation sectors of space. The Constitutions on frontline operations perform the role as the Federation ambassadors to unknown and occasionally hostile sectors of these quadrant zones. Crews could depend on the capital ship's powerful defensive and propulsion systems for self-sustainment, with the nearest Federation vessel hundreds or even thousands of light years away. These 3 new classes of heavy Federation fleet cruisers were developed 50 years ahead of the prime timeline's Constitution classes of starships, with the Type 2 refits and TOS variants still actively performing secondary Starfleet exploration missions in this new alternate branch of the Discovery Trek universe. Comprised and constructed with reverse-engineered 24th century temporal technology, enables Starfleet to expand the Federation borders further and faster than that of the original timeline's exploration events, encountering the Gorn years in advance while rapidly encroaching upon Klingon territory. As an aside, the Star Trek Alternate Universe Triple Timeline video will be linked at the end of this episode and also listed down below in the description. The next fleet level of Starfleet's Exploration Division were 188 frontline primary starship types performing a similar role as secondary fleet cruisers deployed at decreased ranges and mission durations. These first-generation Constitution exploration vessels covered the navigational sectors bypassed by the long-range command-class Constitution starships. These frontline cruisers are on par technologically with their original timeline counterparts, while being commissioned in the early 23rd century, nearly 40 years before the Constitution class's development and construction schedules in the primary TOS universe. Next, 1,826 standard Starfleet light cruisers and frigates make up the largest number of vessels in the Federation's exploration branch. Operating in closer proximity to UFP quadrant borders, these starships established and secured trade networks with recently inducted member worlds and affiliated Federation colonies, while providing support, survey, and escort mission duties. Additionally, these standard starship types perform advanced patrol and perimeter security in and around adjacent sectors of Federation-controlled space. The multi-role capability of these standard Starfleet expeditionary ships allows them to perform research and support missions in the Quadrants' distant expanse of exploration, while additionally monitoring Klingon, Romulan, and Cardassian neutral zones and treaty sectors around Federation-controlled borders and outposts. United Earth, being made aware of the Borg threat 3 centuries in advance, influenced the Federation Council to authorize the formation of a militarized branch of Starfleet over the following decades, implementing a doctrine of strategic defense through a specialized security force to protect the Federation's quadrant borders. Section 31 was granted full and unrestricted access to Borg defense research development to commission a fleet of advanced reverse-engineered warships equipped with these new temporal technology systems. Designated the Naval Commission's Intelligence Armada deployed a fleet of 58 stealth destroyers and 38 enhanced tactical cruisers for a combined force of 106 combat-dedicated warships, permitted unrestricted access to the Alpha and Beta quadrants, giving the strike force the capability to confront any hostile threat in defense of the Federation and its affiliated planets. Additionally, Starfleet itself equipped an advanced force of 1,375 multi-role starships with enhanced security and defense systems that could assume frontline duties in any conflict requiring military force. These tactical science fleets operate in close proximity to UFP sectors and can consolidate within Federation security zones, swiftly converting from research into tactical configuration readiness, combined with Section 31's Armada, forming a joint armed deterrent to any potential adversary of the Federation and Starfleet. During standard operations, the United Defense Fleet conducts survey, intel, research, and escort duties near the UFP home quadrants, deployed into security response groups of quick reaction formations or task forces. Furthermore, these defense fleets can rapidly deploy to any location in a matter of weeks or even days within the 13,000 light years of Federation-controlled space, utilizing the transwarp conduit hubs that were reverse engineered from the Borg temporal wreckage and combined with the shared Xindi technology. This enables every Federation sector to be linked throughout the Alpha and Beta quadrants along with their corresponding border zones with a strategic and logistical grid network. This advanced transit capacity enables Starfleet Command to operate in 2 rotational defense cycles, deploying 690 tactical vessels supported by 53 stealth warships ready for action at any given time through a constant flow of starships to secure and police interstellar commerce and trade networks to Federation member worlds and their affiliated systems and colonies. These multi-role defense ships conduct secondary science and survey missions during their security patrol maneuvers, freeing up the long-range exploration fleets to conduct their traditional warp transit routes beyond the Federation borders on extended timescales, lacking the benefit of the UFP transwarp conduit networks. A consolidated armada of antiquated but still effective starships perform Federation border security missions near critical trade ports and star bases in high traffic sectors, forming this subdivision of Starfleet's defense forces. 370 border patrol vessels monitor neutral zone sectors and shipping lanes along with critical stations and outposts, deployed in 3 fleet formations to the Cardassian, Romulan, and Klingon neutral zones, where these starships patrol and perform escort duties in these designated sectors requiring additional security. Starfleet Transport Command controls naval logistical support for the exploration fleets and United Defense Forces combined operations in the Alpha and Beta Quadrant sector zones. These fast maintenance supply vessels utilize advanced temporal warp drive enhancements to ensure constant lines of communication to Starfleet and the Federation vessels spread out over 50,000 light years. 1,135 support ships are allocated into 6 transport fleet divisions, of which 142 are deployed to each of the 4 exploration zones, totaling 568 Starship sorties operating on the Federation's frontiers. The other 567 support vessels maintain the United Security Fleet and the NCIA Stealth Warship Armada deployed around the perimeter security zones for the Alpha and Beta Quadrants. Comprised of fleet utility cruisers, support frigates, supply tenders, heavy carriers, and survey escort ships with a primary function such as establishing supply depots, relay ports, communication beacons, navigational buoys, and Federation outpost networks for the majority of Starfleet's naval operations. In member world proximity sectors, these ships transport neutronic fuel, deuterium, and logistical support for star bases, fleet shipyards, and dry docks in quadrant supply network hubs across 87 Federation sectors with infrastructure maintaining thousands of starships. Even Starfleet's logistical core was structured around an increased military footing, comprised of 142 escort defenders, 92 tactical frigates, and an additional 12 heavy Constitution fleet cruisers. Next, the UFP Auxiliary Merchant Fleet supports and maintains trade routes, commerce, and quadrant infrastructure within Federation-controlled space, always operating inside the home border zones. 1,250 total starships perform similar fleet support roles as Starfleet's Transport Command. Ship recovery, repair, cargo transport between sectors, colonial and medical duties are common examples of merchant fleet operations. Additionally, these vessels supply and maintain the Federation's star bases, shipyards, dry docks, and outposts spread across 87 UFP homeworld sectors. Maintaining the major trade routes and shipping lanes to over 100 primary planetary members, networked as the main arteries sustaining the Federation interior as a whole. This Federation merchant fleet performing commerce trade support duties for the home quadrants enables Transport Command to supply the primary Starfleet and Federation vessels conducting frontline operations on an intergalactic scale. Comprised of secondary Starfleet vessels and purpose-built UFP starships, enables the auxiliary fleet to deploy the widest variety of mission profiles throughout the Federation's naval branches, with ships comprising that of long-range medical, cargo transport tugs, fleet tenders, recovery, transport, engineer, colonial, couriers, and escort patrol types, make up the Federation's workhorse fleet with an average service life of 20 to 30 years of proven and extremely capable starship production models. The final branch of Federation starships are member world home fleets consisting of 1,195 low warp factor vessels. These less capable assets are of older designs with service lives ranging from 50 to 100 years and commission dates spanning the mid to late 22nd century. With lower warp factors of 5 and below, these ships are utilized primarily as short to close range vessels operating in clusters of 2 to 4 sectors while supporting proximity settlements, colonies, and affiliated planets across Federation-controlled space. As Starfleet exploration rapidly expands planetary memberships throughout the Alpha and Beta Quadrants, every warp-capable vessel holds its own value as advanced 23rd century technology, and engineering also extends the overall service life of starships to, in some cases, that of over a century. Member world fleets essentially perform similar functions as the newer and more advanced Federation auxiliary fleets, but on a significantly scaled down level, operating in sector groups instead of the larger quadrant zones. Although it is not uncommon for an Andorian vessel to be operating on the far side of an adjacent quadrant, generally the UFP member world that designed and built these starships additionally uses them in local spheres of homeworld sector settlements and colonial outposts. Federation member planets additionally employ hundreds of ion propulsion and impulse drive spacecraft that primarily perform interplanetary functions for a solar system or the occasional low-priority shipping lanes within individual subsectors or a nearby star system. Technically not classified as a starship, these non-warp capable planet hoppers still play an important background role in the Federation's infrastructure and supply chain networks. The Klingon Federation War inflicted heavy losses on the Security Defense Fleet and Section 31's warship armada. These combat-oriented starships held the line during the year-long conflict that cut through Federation sectors. Over 1,000 of these defense ships were destroyed, lost in action, or scrapped due to heavy combat damage. Only 40 of the NCIA vessels survived the war, equaling a combined tactical casualty rate exceeding that of 60%, the highest of all the Federation naval divisions and branches. Post-war, Starfleet naval forces activated mothball reserve starships across the Federation as a stopgap measure while large-scale fleet modernization programs were mobilized at every available dry dock and shipyard facility. 586 Enterprise-era starships were brought back into service from the mid-22nd century, along with 550 early 23rd century vessels, as all the functional reserve ships were plucked from shipyards and storage docks from every zone and sector, where these all but forgotten starships are now performing secondary and support fleet duties until replacement ships could be produced. That's it for this episode, ladies and gentle nerds, and for more sci-fi video expeditions, hit subscribe and check out the channel's playlist and community tabs for additional content covering other franchise reviews. Thanks so much for watching.